In a previous tutorial, I took you through how to build out a full test plan for an unmoderated study and how to recruit the right audience for that study. Today, I'm going to take you through the output from an unmoderated study on the metrics tab. Here we go. When you go into your study after it's completed and you go into the metrics tab, you are going to see that each step in your test plan is going to be represented by some kind of visual output. There's going to be something here on the metrics tab that is going to make it easier for you to find the moments that matter in that video. If you structure your test plan correctly, you will have a very highly scannable version of your test. Everything on this page, you'll be able to skim right over it and say, okay, I know for this question it was mostly positive. I know for that question this is what happened. This is basically what I can expect from that question. So if you build it the right way, and there is a link in the description of this video to a document or a deck that I put together showing every test task you can use and the visual output for the metrics tab and when it's best to use them. You'll find that in the description below. I'm going to take you through all the different elements on the metrics tab so you can see what you're going to get from your test plan. Let's start right here. The very top, you're going to see something called the Instant Insights Overview panels. This is where every step in the test plan, UserTesting will attempt to draw some kind of insight or correlation from that element and put it right at the top so you can sort of see an overview as you go through different key things from your study. That's going to be on the top of everything. Just below it, you can see here, you've got the Net Promoter Score, the NPS score. This is going to be there. If you include the post-test questionnaire, it will include 4 questions, the fourth one of which is the NPS question. And you can see here, it's not going to be exact. NPS is a metric that you typically run with hundreds, if not thousands of respondents. But in user testing, when you have 10 people, if you have a score of 13 here, you can see 13, that's not terrible, it's not great. We had 13% promoters, 88% passives, no detractors. So that's all right, but ideally we want way more promoters. We want to get a much higher score. NPS, if you're not familiar, goes from a minus 100 up to 100. The closer to an actual 100 you can get, the better. So you've got your Net Promoter Score here. It's available on every unmoderated study by picking the post-test questionnaire. Now I'm going to switch over to another study basically to take you through the rest of this. I've got a couple of different studies that I've run that really demonstrate key things, some better than others. So here we go. We're going to jump over to this second study, and a lot of people will recognize this study. This is a Hertz study that I use for a lot of demonstrations. A lot of my tips I pull from this study or similar Hertz studies. And you're going to see again, here's that Instant Insights panels right at the top, the overview. In this case, I did not include the post-test questionnaire, so you can see that there is no NPS score. You can also see here that the results tab is visible because this is from a quick answer template. But scrolling right down, the very first thing you see is a rating scale question. This is great. We've got here the question without leaving the screen. How difficult or easy do you expect it to be to find a promotion that saves you the most money on a rental car in Orlando next weekend for the car of your choice? And explain your answer. Remember, it's always important to ask people to explain their answer because this is think out loud research, and we want to get a level of qualitative feedback on top of everything, whether it's a survey style question or an actual task that we're having them carry out on a website or mobile app or in a physical space. We want to get more think out loud data so we can understand the why behind the what. Now, in this case, you actually have a simple rating scale with the ratings being a 3, a 4, and a 5. 2 people said very easy, 2 people said easy, and 1 person said it was going to be neutral. Now, I'm just going to scroll up real quick because I want to tie this back to the Instant Insights Overview panels right up here. Now you're going to see this up here and says contributors who gave a rating of 4 for question 1, which would be easy. They expected this task to be easy before they did it. They also expressed negative sentiment. Now, why would they be expressing negative sentiment if they're giving it a 4 and saying it's going to be easy? That's certainly counterintuitive, don't you think? And that's exactly why you want to do this in a think out loud fashion. You want to make sure that people are telling you why they're giving it a 4. So let's just say we click on this. Everything in the metrics tab that you see that you can click on, it's going to lead you to the video with very few exceptions. Everything's going to lead you to the video of why people answered that way, the recording of them actually answering. So you can see here, this user spent a minute and 48 seconds answering this question, explaining why it's only going to be easy and not very easy. And that's something that I learned very quickly, is that when people give something a 4 or a 3, they're explaining why they're not giving it a 5. So there's a lot of great insights behind this number 4 and this number 3 that will tell you things you need to work on. So use these scores as a way to drill in to key moments, to find things that might be on your customers' minds, maybe things you can work on or expectations that you can adjust. You can also see right here at the top right corner of task 1. This is an instant highlight reel. An instant highlight reel on the metrics tab is basically all of the participants, all the respondents, all of their videos, just one after the other. So if you just want to watch everybody answer question 1, you just hit play, and it's going to take you to a sequence of video clips that are going to be all that. It will also add a highlight reel to your list of highlight reels that will say task 1 from test XYZ. Scrolling down, now we get to an actual task. This is where I actually had them do something. Now, the task we read up here about finding the rental car, finding the promotion for the rental car that saves the most money, yada, yada, yada. That is the task right here. And as I scroll down, I'm just going to skip over this summary here, and I'm going to go down to the actual interactive path flow. When you use a task for a website or prototype study, doesn't matter if it's a mobile website, a desktop website, or a prototype, you will get what we call an interactive path flow. This is a visual representation of the journey that your participants took filling out or completing the task on the site, prototype, whatever. The vertical lines represent the unique URLs that they reached as they went through the experience. Now, I say unique URLs, especially because when we're talking about prototypes, any interaction with the prototype, and sometimes a website, will generate a new unique URL. It will add some kind of variable with a value to the URL that is treated as a unique page by the interactive path flow. These lines, if you're familiar with Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics, you will normally think of a unique path flow analysis or a path analysis report. It will just tell you URLs or file names. Well, here, we're actually showing you the screenshots grabbed live from participants as they go through the experience. So these are actual users' journeys through the actual, in this case, Hertz website. If I hover over individual users, I can see their journeys highlighted in blue. The key thing is looking for outliers. So you can see different things here about who had the longest journey. Hovering over an individual page will also highlight the user whose journey that was. Now, if you want to click on a particular user, like let's just say this particular one, we click on that person and what do we get? We actually get that person's journey represented in the screenshots and clicks and interactions through the experience. So here you'll see 11 interactions, 4 interactions, 5 interactions, etc. This person had the slowest time. You can see the little stopwatch here showing slowest time, how many screens visited along a common path, 22 interactions. We can actually get more detailed than this, which is great. If I click expand all, you are now going to see all of the clicks, all the interactions. Like hovering over any interaction will show you. They clicked on accept cookies, they scrolled, they clicked select for reservation, they scrolled, they clicked close on something, then they said pay now. All of the interactions are here, and just a reminder, there is no code required for any of this. This is all captured by the UserTesting browser extension, which means you can collect this data for not only your own websites, but also the competition, the distributors, third-party resellers, all those applications and sites. You can capture this level of depth on your customer's journey. So like my personal experience when I used to work for Reckitt, we sold Lysol, we sold Airwick, Finish, lots of products, and we had no idea what the customer journey was on third-party retailers. We knew how much we sold, but we didn't know how we went about acquiring a customer, them finding our products and putting them in the cart and then eventually checking out. This allows you to see all of that. It's a gateway into a whole new level of information that you never had, not only, like I said, about your distributors, but about the competition as well. So if I collapse this and I go back up to the interactive path flow here, you can see also there is this highlighted orange line. It kind of looks like a barbershop spinning thing outside the window. This is AI-driven friction detection. And you can see hovering over the page here, it will tell you that there's friction detection on that page. Now I can click into this and I can see which user had friction. I can see actually click maps for this page. This is where all of the clicks happened as people advanced from step to step. The key thing here is that this is not a high volume test. This is, I think I did this with 5 people. So you're not going to get a fully fleshed out heat map like you would in user Zoom with a click test. Here you're just getting, this is all the users where they clicked. And just like before, hovering over any one of them is going to show you what it was. And clicking on a person is going to show you, clicking on the dot is going to show you who it was. And you can play that journey for the individual experience. I should have also mentioned that when I clicked on the individual, you can also expand all, you can play any one of these pages if you just want to see the interactions with that page. A lot of people will look for first click analysis in user testing, and people ask me about it all the time. And the reality is, first click is great, but last click is way more important when it comes to analyzing a journey or a funnel, a conversion funnel, a path analysis. Why is the last click more important? Because I need to know how they got from page 1 to page 2 to page 3, especially when someone goes along a fork in the road. You know, why did someone go to this page versus this page? You can look at their individual path journey and see what they clicked. Without even looking at the video, you'll know exactly what they did. So very, very powerful tool. I'm going to collapse this and go back up here. Sentiment is another view of the interactive path flow. Interactive path flow sentiment will show you the exact same journeys, but with a sentiment filter on top. Now you can see here that this journey had 6 positive moments and 10 negative moments. So negative moments are outweighing the positive moments by almost 2 to 1. So that's not great, right? That's really important that we know that. And we can see here that this user had the most negative moments. This user had the most positive moments. If we take a look at the same user we clicked on before, we click on this participant, and now we see that journey by sentiment. So the first 3 pages, the early part of this, finding a promotion and the car that you want, is all negative. And we get to a little bit of positive at the end. But any one of these things, like I said, you can click on them and see exactly what's going on. So if I click on it, I now get the page thumbnail right here, and I get the transcript of what was being said and the sentiment, and I can play that if I'd like. I can go right into it and play it, make a clip of it, etc. Really, really important, especially when you're strapped for time, you got to go fast. You can come right in here, analyze the sentiment, click right into the video clip. You can see this is a 3-second clip, a 13-second clip, and then you can make those clips by highlighting the transcript and saving it. But it's a very quick way to drill in by journey. Now you can also drill in by page. If I click on a page, I can see, oh, 2 different people were on this page and they had different experiences. So I can click on this one to see the positive comments or this one to see the negative. So really, really powerful to get right in there and see the sentiment for each page. Super important. Think about this, visualize this. You have a 4-step funnel, maybe the home page, search process, and then you go to search results, product details page, add to cart, checkout. Okay, it's 6 pages, not 4. But if steps 1 through 4 are all green, and then step 5, this is actually 6 steps, or this is 6 steps here. Let's say step 5 was all red. You know immediately click into step 5, and let's see what's messing up the funnel towards the point of conversion. Really, really critical, really important. You have a 3rd tab here for intent. Now, what is intent? When I click on intent, you're going to see a different representation of this participant journey. And this is where user testing will try to automatically assign an intention to each step along the way. Now here, anywhere you can see a lowercase letter, those are the defaults. Any place you see an uppercase letter, that is where I've already altered this to make it a little bit better. So here you can see it says browse. That is a standard e-commerce interaction label. So user testing automatically puts that in here, and you can see, well, maybe you don't know, I know the site very well. The person is browsing promotions. So they are just looking at promotions. But if I want to, I can rename that by simply clicking edit label. I hover over anything, there's an edit label. And when I say edit label, I can actually type browse deals, or I can pick browse deals or name it something else. Now, the ones that are here that are uppercase are the ones that I actually already labeled. And you can see the ones that are lowercase are the ones that were put in by default. So within moments, you can actually have this completely updated with the actual intentions of each step, and you can share this. You can screen grab this, put it in a report, and when someone says, what is it like for our customers using our application, you can actually show them this view and say, this is actually what it's like. We thought it was XYZ, but here it's actually LMNOPQ. That's actually what it takes. And then sometimes they go back to N and back to N again and back to N again, and then they get to the end. So when you do this correctly, this is something that everybody can understand, no matter if they're a developer, a researcher, an executive, someone who works in a location. They might actually be able to see this and go, yeah, I understand this. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look correct. So you've got your path, your sentiment, and your intent. Very easy to label these and set them up. You probably noticed something when I hovered over a tab before, hovered over a page. If you look in the lower right of this little flyout, you'll see there's an option that says Mark Success Screen. Now, if I come over here and I just click it, you are going to see that there are going to be some changes to the interactive path flow right away. Now, you see this lit up orange, and you'll notice that two little tags were put on the side here that say successful. If I switch back to the path view, you will now see that two of these full journeys were marked success. These are successful journeys. You can actually mark another one success if you want, and say, yeah, these were successful. But when you're going through and looking at this, it's important to mark off the successful sessions. Sometimes you want to be able to set the success ahead of time, and that's actually coming soon with user testing. We'll be able to define success for tasks like this before the test is run. But I'm a big proponent of doing it at the end, at least in combination with the beginning. But if nothing else, the end is more important than the beginning. Why do I say that? Because when we run tests like this, we have a preconceived notion of what success looks like. Oh, this is the page we want them to get to because that's the page that has the data about XYZ that is what we told them to find. But when we look at these interactive path flows and we watch our videos, we'll notice that, oh, there's similar data on another page or on two other pages, and they went to those pages. So we should actually count them as successful because they did find the data, just not where we intended them to go. So that's something we need to look at because we've got the same data listed in three places. And is it all up to date? So being able to go in after the fact and evaluate whether someone's successful is really important. And that's why I love that you can do it here in user testing. I'm going to scroll up. Now, I can't show you the button right now, but normally when you run an unmoderated study and it's got tasks in it or verbal tasks, verbal questions, I should say, there's going to be a little button right here that says summarize with AI, something like that. I think it says summarize with AI. Apologies for that. But what that will do is it will create an AI task summary for your study. And so you will get an output just like this where AI will tell you what was going on in your study. And this works for up to 25 people. So if you've got a study with a maximum of 25 contributors, you can actually do a full-on analysis of your task. And you can see here things like one contributor found a promotion for getting one free day when going electric and successfully booked a car with the promotion. That's amazing, right? I can click on View Source and I can watch this particular user have that experience. I can go back, I can copy this overview. It'll be a bulleted list. It'll just give me everything so that I can see it very, very cleanly. Then I can go up here if I want, I can say, no, I don't want to see the individual. I don't want to see the overview. I want to see the individuals. And we knew that some people had much longer experiences than others. So here is a summary of what is going on. Clicked on deals, then destination deals. Mentioned seeing a promotion. Scroll to the coupons and discounts page. I can show me more, show me everything. And it's going to tell you step by step what is going on. If you are a functional designer, a product manager, product owner, you can look through this and see this is the journey. Without even looking at the video, you know step by step what's going on. You've got it here, you've got it in the actual details of the journey, like I showed before, but it's very, very cool that you can just look through this and see, okay, this is my interaction experience. This is everything. Is this what I intended people to do? Because this is what it is. So very, very cool. And all of this is exportable. You can copy all the summaries, you can export it to a CSV file. So you've got the overview and you have the contributor summary. This can be done, like I said, for tasks and for verbal questions. So with that, I'm going to scroll down off my task and I'm going to move on the metrics tab. Scrolling down, again, another rating scale question. Now we get to a verbal question. Now, verbal questions are really cool because what you will get from a verbal question, a lot of times you'll just see this. Well, people had verbal responses and you have to listen to them now. You have to listen to the verbal response. Verbal responses are great to listen to, and we can summarize, we can look at the transcript and we can see all that. But when we look at UserTesting's keyword maps, you actually now have a visual representation of what was being said. And in this case, it's a sentiment-driven keyword map, which is, you're looking at it going, it looks like a word cloud. It is a word cloud basically, but it's got sentiment on top of it. So you can see, looking at this, there's a lot of positive feedback and there's a lot of negative feedback. Now, in this particular case, this is a positively slanted question. So it's gonna lean toward the positive. But I'm gonna show you another one in a second that is actually more open-ended. The key here is that you've got your terms here, and any one of these things you can actually click on and you can see the transcript. Like it didn't give me a different code to highlight. So there's a problem with this. I can expand this, see more of the transcript. I can go play the clip and see what's going on with this negative comment. You can do that for all of these, whether it's positive, negative, or even this neutral special word right here. Much, much, much more powerful than a standard word cloud, because it is important that you know that certain words, like the word special perhaps, or the word good, it may not always be used in a positive light. And so we want to drill on that and see at a very high level and at a detailed level, what did that word mean? If you want to search for anything specifically, let's just say you're in marketing and you have a particular element of the page or the experience or the question you were wondering if they mentioned, and UserTesting didn't happen to bring it out. So let's just say, for sake of argument, that I'm a marketer and I want to see, did anyone mention yellow? Just yellow is a keyword from Hertz, it's their brand color. Did anyone mention yellow? No matching words in the transcript. If there was something like, let's say car. Will anyone use the word car? No matching words there either. So we're going to skip it, but if there were words that were in the transcript that were found, it would bring them up and it would add them to the keyword map. So very, very cool. Up above, the AI task summary is also available here for the verbal questions. Again, 2 contributors specifically mentioned the ease of finding deals and promotions. 1 contributor found the display of the code, PCI code, helpful. So there's all kinds of insights you can get at a high level glance from this verbal question, right? You can scan this, like I said before, scannable insights, instant insights, or insights at a glance. If you set your study up correctly, again, check the document that I'm linking to in the description to see how to use all these things, what the output is, and when it's best to use them, but you're going to get great insights. As I scroll down a little bit further, now you have a written question. Write 1 to 3 words that summarize your previous answer in the box below. What part of the website made the activity easy? This is great use of a written question because it's a list. We're asking people to list things out or write out a specific thing, not an emotion, but an actual physical thing. So instead of asking this as a verbal question where there would be no emotion, no sentiment, nothing to benefit us in a keyword map, a written response gives us a list. So here we can see there's 3 minutes of highlights of people writing these answers, or we can just go choose a car, layout of the website's easy to use, multiple discounts, locating the deal tab made it easy, and it's simple. That took me about 12 seconds versus 2 minutes and 57 seconds to listen to everybody tell us those things and write it out for us. So very good use of written responses. If you, again, are asking people to list something out, Or even just name something. If they're naming something, how many times do you do this? If you don't want to use multiple choice for that and give ranges, you can just have them write the number. If you want to ask them what was the last thing you purchased from a particular store, they can write that out. It's very quick to scan it. So if it's things, have them put it here. Scrolling down again, another verbal question, another written question, another written question, and at the bottom here, after the last rating scale, we get to a multiple choice. So when you do have a list of things you want them to pick from, you will get a multiple choice. And in this case, from this list, select one word that describes the biggest improvement you'd make to this website. And there was a number of options, but the ones that were chosen were understandability, nothing, people thought it was great, navigation, or appearance. So again, if you want to see who thought the appearance was bad, you can just click on it and go play the video clip of them explaining why they didn't think the appearance was good. So you can actually drill right in, find the key things. Again, if this was perhaps a navigation related study, we ran a generic study to see if the navigation was a problem. We can go back down here and say, okay, who thought the navigation was bad? Let's watch this particular person's clips and see what they thought about the navigation. Before we wrap up, I'm going to show you one extra thing. It's a bit of a hack, but it really pays off when you're using the metrics tab and metrics output. You're thinking about the metrics tab as you're building a study. Now, I mentioned up above that when you're running a task on a website, mobile website, or prototype, you're going to get this interactive path flow. Because it's based on URLs, you only get it for web-based traffic. You will not get an interactive path flow when you're testing a mobile app, or if you have a task that you want someone to do in real life. So if you want someone to do a task in real life, remember, anything that can be captured with the camera on the smartphone, you can actually capture for user testing. Same thing with a mobile app. Everything in a mobile app, which has states and not pages, you can capture in user testing. But if you do it a clever way, you're going to get some really rich data. And I'm going to show you that here, how to maximize the metrics tab for other studies. This is actually a test that I ran where I wanted people to go into a store. I had them in a store and I wanted them to go find electric toothbrushes in that particular store. And so here you can see that I chose to use a verbal question, right? Why would I ask them a verbal question when I want them to go and physically find something in a store? That doesn't seem to make any sense. Yes, that's true. But when I think about it from an output standpoint, and I think about the visualization that I can create, the verbal question is the actual perfect choice. Because now when I scroll down, we look at this at a high level overview and I say, okay, I don't see their journey, but what I can see is that their emotions while they were completing that journey in the real world was mostly positive. So overwhelmingly positive, a couple of neutral things where they kept mentioning electronics or rechargeable toothbrushes, I think, as they were looking for it. There was only one negative element. And so I can say at a glance, remember, this is all about generating a metrics tab that will give you at a glance research output. So I can see this is really great and mostly positive. But then when I scroll up to that AI task analysis, AI task summary, I can see right here that one contributor noticed clutter in the area. One contributor expressed satisfaction with the options available. Both contributors found the electric toothbrushes area in the store. Now, there were only 2 people in this study. It was a very simple test that I ran. But just like before, I can say view the source, and I can go here and I can view different elements in that study. I can just see what's going on, and I can listen to them and actually watch them, because in this verbal question, I had them do it as they're walking. So I can listen to them as they're going. You can hear any ambient sound. You can hear what's going on in the store. So this is really great. This is the same thing if you're using a mobile app. If you're using a mobile app, do your tasks as verbal questions, and you will actually get this kind of output. So while you won't see the journey like this of people moving through the mobile app, you will see the way they felt on that journey. Just like you see here with 6 positive moments, 10 negative moments. If you saw that here, it would be mostly red with a little bit of green and maybe a little bit of neutral. So it tells you at a glance, okay, the experience with my mobile app was very bad, or the experience with my mobile app was very good. Now I'm going to drill in and see a little bit more about what was going on as they did this study. I'm going to jump right up to the top of this metrics tab again. I just wanted to show you there is the opportunity to filter a little bit here at the top. You can look at the contributors and say, I only want to see certain contributors or not. And you can sort by things like the contributor or the time on task. You can change the way that things are sorted in the individual steps or tasks, but you do have a little bit of options here. So if you see somebody that was like, yeah, that person really was not my ideal customer. They did something that was a little bit different. So I'm just going to exclude them from the study because they went on a whole different tangent. So I just want to see what the study looks like without them. So I'll just say, all right, let me just take that person out of the study. And you'll notice right here, you saw it happen live. The person who was neutral here was this one, and it disappeared, and then it came back. So you can filter. It is on the fly. You do have other options here in the upper right. These are available throughout the test, but I'm just going to show it here. You do have actions. You can duplicate a study, move it to another folder. Export to Excel is probably the most common thing you'll want to do when you're on the metrics tab. You'll be thinking about all this data, and you'll say, you know what? I want to export this to Excel so I can go work with it. All the data is there, all the transcripts, time on task metrics, all the answers to all these survey style questions that are here will all be there, along with any notes and clips that you've made will be in export to Excel. So just know that that option is there. And then of course the sharing option is there as well if you want to use those. That's it for the metrics tab. We covered a lot of the metrics tab, but I didn't cover everything. We covered all the question types like written responses, verbal responses, multiple choice questions, rating scales, tasks with interactive path flows. We talked about the different nuances of everything in there. But what we didn't cover in the metrics tab, and I want to be very clear, is we didn't cover card sorting and tree testing outputs. I wanted to stick to the most traditional unmoderated tests. I actually have done other tip videos about card sorts and tree tests. You can look at those, or maybe I'll do a full in-depth analysis of building out a card sort and building a tree test in a tutorial style a little bit later. But for now, we covered the basics for an unmoderated test and all the different ways you can use the metrics tab to get insights at a glance, actual insights faster. I've often said actual insights in 99% less time if you use the metrics tab correctly. That's going to be it for this tutorial, and I will see you again later.